Hey, welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your host, Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about Impact from February the 23rd, 2021. And this episode was just bleh. Had two pretty good segments, but it was mostly bleh. Just bleh. Not terrible, not particularly exciting, not particularly great. Just a whole bunch of bleh. And then because there's not any talking points, it's going to be pretty short. So the first match was Jake Something versus Diener in a tables match. There was a pretty cool spot in this match where Diener basically used the table leg as a weapon and did the old up and down jamming Diener's throat into the table leg, and he didn't sell it. He went to commercial break. He came back and it was pretty much over. So that was disappointing. And Jake Something won with a boss man slam through the table as Diener ran down the ramp to attack him. Post-match, Moose attacked Jake and took a seat in the ring. At this point in time, I realized that Moose had one earring, and it was like one of those dangling earrings, like he's a member of Van Halen or some shit. And I was just kind of like, all right. So he said he was going to hold the ring hostage until Rich Swann gave him his title match, and he refused to leave. Scott D'Amore told him to get out of the ring. He refused, of course. And then Scott D'Amore told him, look, Rich Swann isn't even medically cleared. He's not here. But since you insist on having a title match tonight, Scott D'Amore then recognizes the TNA World Heavyweight title and said that he, being Moose, has to defend the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Jake Something later tonight. Because Jake Something wanted to tear Moose apart after he got help to the back. So, Moose gets his title recognized. He is now officially the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And Scott D'Amore's reasoning for this is because the TNA belt, Moose, for starters, Moose has been calling himself a world champion all this time. Second is, the TNA belt means so much to him. And I guess he kind of wanted to screw with Moose and get Moose to lose it. But obviously the overall goal here is to have the fusion of the two belts. The fusion of the TNA world title and the Impact world title. But let's go into the main event because, there's not a lot going on in this show anyway. So I want to get as much done as I can. Let's group like objects. So the main event was Moose versus Jake Something, and a pretty solid match. Jake is not bad. I actually like Jake a little bit more than I did. I still hate the name. It's unique, but I hate the name. Anyway, Jake fell to a Uranagi, which is basically a rock bottom, followed by a spear. So Moose wins. So then Moose hit him with a chair after the match. He beat him with a chair. And after he was hitting him with the chair, Rich Swann ran to the ring and they started fighting, of course. Referees, other officials came down, separated them. And then Scott D'Amore says that March the 13th on Impact Plus Sacrifice, Moose will fight Rich Swann for the Impact World Championship. So March the 13th, Moose will get his match. Okay, fine. Now, obviously, we're going to fuse these two titles. March the 13th is not that far away. It's like in 2 weeks. So it's hopefully we get the end of Rich Swann's title run, and we can get rid of all the things that is bothering and hampering the growth of Impact. I gotta say Rich Swann is number one on that list. It's not even Rich Swann as a performer. It's the presentation. It's the approach. It's the fact that even the company treats him as a secondary act where he spends most of the time not even on the show. When he's almost immediately after he won the title, his whole crossover thing started. So he wasn't even that important. The growth of the brand came from, the AEW infusion and the New Japan stuff now. So we need to get the title off of Rich Swann, really. It won't change the show that much, but it'll help. All right, it'll really help. So the second match on the show was Trey Miguel and was a 6-man tag. Trey Miguel, Josh Alexander, and Willie Mack versus Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Black Taurus. So there was a specific point in this match where Black Taurus and Willie Mack were doing the old drop down, jump over, leapfrog spot. And these two guys are at least 280 pounds apiece. So it was big, it was athletic big guys. And it ended with Willie Mack doing a pretty fucking sweet lucha style arm drag. And I was like, well, that was dope. I enjoyed look, man, I'm a mark for Taurus. I really am. He's really good. He's a great mixture of athleticism and speed and technique. He's really good. I'm also, of course, I'm a big fan of Ace Austin, and Chris Bay is okay. I'm a fan of, I like kind of like all these guys, to varying degrees. Anyway, Chris Bay pinned Willie Mack to end the match. So Chris Bay, Ace Austin, and Black Taurus wins. Trey Miguel was frustrated and stormed off. Then they did this thing where he storms off and they immediately go to the back. And Trey Miguel is in the back and Sami Callihan comes up behind him. So Sami Callihan basically says, I told you so. Like you got mad and you stormed off. You lost. Your team lost, but you didn't get pinned. And the reason why you say like you about to flake out. Like you about to leave. You've been here 3 months already, and you're already about to leave again. And then he says that the weak link of the team was Trey Miguel's passion. He doesn't have any passion. So of course Trey Miguel snapped, attacked Sami. I was about to call him Sami Zayn. Sami Callihan, punched him in the body and stuff like that, and pretty much knocked him down. Referees had to pull him off of him. Trey barked at the referees not to touch him, And then Sami Callihan was kind of laughing, like he had, like he was, he getting under his skin. All right, I don't like the Warthog. I don't care about the Warthog at all. He's a gross fuck. But Trey Miguel is cool, and I'm interested in seeing what they're doing with him. And I like this new edgy. I wouldn't say edgy. Let's put it like aggressive. Let's put it like that. I like the new aggressive Trey Miguel. Like he's out to prove something. He's very serious. He's very focused. He's almost hyper focused. In some cases, he's a little too intense. He's a little too sensitive, but it's fresh. It's a fresh look for this guy, and so that was cool. So after the match, there was also a Decay promo where Decay talked about, that the Hivelings have been patient, but now the Death Dealers are resurrected. I guess they're talking about themselves, and now they're gonna target the X Division title. And once they get the X Division Championship, everything else will fall into place. So following that was the paid ad, the AEW paid ad, which is, I can't believe they're still doing this. It's got to be like, what is it, like 3 months already straight? I can't believe they're still doing this. Anyway, there were several AEW wrestlers around Tony Khan this time. There was Ryan Nemeth, Britt Baker, Ricky Starks, Matt Hardy, Private Party, Rebel, Brian Cage, and all these people basically talked about their own matches that's going to be on Dynamite. And Tony, of course, said like, "Oh, these paid ads are they're charity for Impact." And I was just like, this gets less and less interesting. It's not even fun to make fun of these things anymore. Like, it's not even fun to poke fun at them anymore. So it's like, stop it. Stop doing it. Anyway, so we move on to Havoc next. Havoc is trying to talk some sense into Nevaeh, about the losing. And she's like, look, just because we lost and just because you lost doesn't mean we have to break up. We have to take some time and think about it. And Nevaeh's like, nope. I want to put some thought into this. I have to, see what's going on here. And she stormed off. And then Tennille Dashwood was eavesdropping as usual. And she said, oh, we got everything all set up for this tag team between me and you. We got theme music. We got gear. They made a nice little joke because Tennille's, I guess, manservant, his name is Caleb with a K. And so that's his real name. That's his actual working name. It's Caleb with a K. And so Tennille made the joke that Havoc spells Havoc with a K. And so that was sort of it actually made her smile. Like it was, I know her character probably wasn't supposed to be smiling, but she ended up smiling. She corpsed a little bit. But Havoc was like, no. And then, she stormed off. So apparently, I guess they're going to feud. So then the Good Brothers beat Triple XL in a match that was far too long. It was, matter of fact, and I'm guessing it was long on purpose because later the Good Brothers was hanging out with Finn Juice. And they were talking about, of course, telling FinJuice, calling them the young boys and saying that they needed to make sure that they had their beers, and the beers need to be in cans because that's how they like them, and they need to be cold. And then FinJuice says, like, hey, well, the Good Brothers ran down their credentials about beating up everybody and winning all the tag team titles. And FinJuice says, well, yeah, it took you guys long enough to beat Triple XL, like you're getting, like you're a step off, like you're falling behind or whatever. And that's when the Good Brothers reminded them of their resume. And of course, FinJuice said that they were hungover or something like that, and it was dumb, and it really didn't add anything. I don't care about these people. I really don't. Juice Robinson he's not interesting, and David Finley's less than that. It's just not cool. So we get Swingers Palace, and Swingers Palace is usually very good. Anything involving Johnny Swinger was usually pretty good, and this was actually funny, but it wasn't as funny as the previous week. So James Storm is playing blackjack. Johnny Bravo is the dealer. Chris Sabin is hanging out with James Storm, and Alicia Edwards is just kind of there. I think Follow By is also there, but I don't know what he's doing. So James Storm is winning, and Swinger is he's mad that James Storm is winning. He's calling it the Montreal screw job, saying the house is supposed to always win. So then Rohit Raju comes up in the middle of the game, threw down some money, and said, "Hit me." And then he said, "Hit me, hit me." And then he actually wins. So he won, hit blackjack. He took all of James Storm's money, and James Storm was pissed and said, how can you just come in the middle of the game and do this, and yada, yada, yada. And then Rohit he had this big comical bandage around his head, which was absolutely hilarious. It was like something out of the 1800s. Where like you might have tied an ice pack to your head or something like that. That's how Rohit Raju had this towel wrapped around his head. It was like wrapped under his chin. Anyway, Rohit Raju reminded him that he hit him with a beer bottle, and then Stan Storm threatened to hit him with a beer bottle again. And Chris Sabin got up and says that he loves this place, that he loves Swingers Palace, and that he doesn't want to get kicked out for fighting. So there's not going to be any fighting, any more arguing, and nothing. And he says, I love Swingers Palace. You're like, oh, yeah, daddy. So Johnny Swinger promised that nobody's going to get kicked out because he was going to take bets on the Rohit versus James Storm match. And then he told Johnny Bravo to go to management to get the match made. And then the match is actually made. But it's made for the stupid pre-show next week. The stupid fucking pre-show next week. The pre-show that I don't watch. They're going to put the match that Johnny Swinger is going to be betting on the pre-show next week. Of all the shit that you could have cut out of this week's episode, you decided to leave it. God damn it, man. This shit sucks. So the next thing was Eddie Edwards versus Brian Myers. Brian Myers backed out of the match, claiming that his lawyer gave him good advice not to work in an unsafe environment, and that there was significant damage to his eyesight, and that suggested a replacement, who was Hernandez, who lost in like 4 or 5 minutes to a tornado DDT. Following that, Eddie Edwards. Brian Myers went to the back, who he was approached by Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona, Brian Myers was like, hey, why are you following me around? Why are you obsessed with me? And then out of nowhere, here comes Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore starts talking about, oh, yeah, the lawyers and the clauses and the contracts and and some more shit. And it says that he has to be cleared by Impact doctors. And that since he has been cleared by Impact doctors, he has to fight Eddie Edwards. He's going to fight Eddie Edwards in an eye for an eye match. So then, and so Brian Myers starts to kind of freak out over this eye for an eye thing. And then he says, that's not fair. What kind of match is that? Are you serious about this? And then Scott D'Amore says, oh yeah, sure. Matt Cardona's going to referee the match. And then he was like, no, wait, what the hell? And then he was like, are you sure we're going to do this eye for an eye thing? And then Scott D'Amore was like, no, we're not going to do eye for an eye. Like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Like, who would even do stuff like that? You know, like you're gonna rip a guy's eye out and he's gonna have his eye back in his head a couple of weeks later. That's stupid. Ripping on the WWE eye for an eye match. Pretty sure if Impact would have done it, then they might have actually gotten some of the views that WWE got. I mean, stupid as it was, it's better than what you producing. So you shouldn't be taking shots if you're not producing what they're producing. I mean, I'm just saying. I'd have ripped both of fucking Brian Myers' eyes out of his head and put his head on a fucking pike in order to get people to watch this fucking show. You must have, I mean, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I mean, you're in the business of trying to get eyeballs. Well, I shouldn't have said it like that. But no pun intended. But, whatever. So the next match was Susan and Kimberly versus Jordan Grace and Jazz, the number one contender for the tag team titles. Deonna Purrazzo was interfering in the match, choking Jazz with the ropes. And then ODB ran out to fight her off. A lot of officials and stuff came back and broke them up. The referee ejected them. And so Grace beat Susan with the Grace driver. And then when they went to the back, they found that ODB was unconscious and not moving. So, dun dun dun. Of course, we don't. There's not gonna be no who did it. We already know who did it. Deonna Purrazzo did it. So that was Impact for the week of February 23rd. It was very blah. It wasn't even much to make fun of. The tables match was fine. The 6-man tag was decent, good. The main event was decent, good. Everything else was just shits, which is usual. So, I mean, there was nothing spectacular about this episode of Impact. And then they even tamped down the swinger. Look, man, we need more swinger, and not less. They gave us a substantial amount of swinger the week before, and now they just basically like giving us swinger in dribs and drabs. It'll feel like a crackhead, like a meth addict or something. Like you get that free hit, and then you like you scratch and like you got some more of that swinger's palace, and then next you know they like I give you a little bit, and they kind of give you a little. And you're like, come on, man. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You're like scratching. I'm like, come on, baby. I'm hurting. I need my medicine. That's the only reason I watch this fucking show. The only reason I watch this fucking show is for Johnny Swinger. Ironically, I just saw Johnny. I was watching ECW and I saw like a young Johnny Swinger, which is like, I haven't seen Johnny Swinger in ECW in a long time. So it made me laugh out loud seeing a young Johnny Swinger. Like every time I watch ECW and he's on it, and it's only been once so far, but it's pretty fucking funny. Johnny Swinger is the GOAT, man. As far as Impact is concerned, he's the GOAT. He should be the world champion. Might as well be. It'll be funny as shit. But that's pretty much it for Impact. Thank you guys for listening. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. Spread that good work. 3Count Commentaries utilizing the hashtag 3Count Commentaries. And if you want to send cash, please do via the comment section. Will be the Cash App. And I'm gonna thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.